The purpose of the Zoom and the Facebook Live event today is to really bring out and to bring alive the questions and the answers to these questions that are still staying with us, and to extract from these beautiful stories, because they're not just stories, extract the relevant lessons we can apply in our lives today. Because that's the purpose that I'm sure God placed those stories in the Torah. So you recall, just to give you a brief summary, we have at the end of Noah's parasha, this is some 2,000 years after the creation of the world, some 340 years after the flood. We still have Noah alive. We have Avram on the scene, but he's very early on the scene. He's only 48 at this stage. And what happens is that the covenant that Noah has with God, his descendants let go of that. And they decide to come to a valley and to build a tower, a huge tower, with the objective of putting an idol on top of this tower with a sword in his hand, according to the Midrash, to fight God. And the idea is so bizarre that as I mentioned in the podcast, and please do look at the podcast to see the whole message. It sounds more like a script out of Star Wars than it does out of the Bible. And I have Yoel here very, very kindly has agreed to answer 3 questions that I still have after reading this, and then 3 life lessons that we want to apply. So the first question, Yoel, is I want to just take a step back, because in the 2 parashat of Bereshit and Noach, we span 1/3 of the lifespan of the world, 2,000 years out of nearly 6,000, in those 2 short parashas. And whenever I read it, I get the impression that it's almost inevitable that man is going to fail. We have Adam and Eve, we've got Cain and Abel, we've got Noah, the flood, we've got the Tower of Babel. It's like one mistake after the other. I just wanted to get your response to this idea. Do you think it's accurate to state that it's inevitable for man to fail?
So, like a good Jew, you have 3 questions. I will give 10 questions against each question.
We will be here all night, guys.
We will have 30 questions to answer. So, but we have only half an hour, so it will be 1 minute for each question and answer. So I will try to make it short and clear. And maybe, yes, to continue, not just to answer, but to give an idea about how we can think about situation. So, yes, and like the introduction of my new book is, how do you see the world today? Yes, because we want to make the parasha alive in our life today in 2022. So how do you see the world today? We have in one side people that will tell you, the world is going to be destroyed, it is war, it is atomic, it is warm, it is hot. And it is other people that continue to build the world every day. Spiritual people, architects, everything like that. And yes, we have today in Dubai, as I pretend now to make the most higher towers that was ever made in the world. So you see the story about what was at the time of Noah didn't change a lot at this point. And if I don't mistake, I think that every few years, it is a country in the world that pretend to build the most higher tower of the world. Every time. What is this craziness about, I want to be the country that we have the higher tower? So this is one question that we have to ask. But if you isolate this point about the tower, and you say, do we have all the time to make mistakes, or do we have to look at the history like a sequence of mistakes, or do we have to look at the history of the humanity, that the humanity is growing and performing better and better? So, in fact, we can isolate event in the history, or we can make a sequence or a chain of history, and each guy that is dealing with writing historical book will tell you the truth if he's little honest. I choose the poem that I want to write the story I want. You mentioned Abraham and Noah. We are talking of a civilization that is no books, no teaching except the yeshivot from Abraham. We are talking about people that had to survive in the beginning of the condition of the humanity. Even before Noah, they don't know how to take a land and to make growing things without having all the dirt inside. And we do see that we have people that have the knowledge to make a better world, and other mass people that have to learn how to make it. Opposite to those good people that want to make a better world, there are people that want to have the power. And when they want to have the power, at the end, they want to destroy the world. It's what happened. Yes, if we are back in September 11 of the Two Tower in the US, we have people that want to show that they are all the financial economy in Two Tower, and we have people that want to destroy. This is the world how it looks. This is really the image of the world? I don't think. The world, if we look at it, it's just getting better and better. It's more knowledge. Today we have more books and more access to knowledge than it was ever in the history. So if you take back to the time of Noah and Abraham Avinu, you take Noah, 100 years he was teaching people how to change life. Can you have someone today, a leader, that is teaching with chen, with grace, no aggressivity, no war, no weapon, just talking nicely to people to have a better life? So this is my partial answer of your question. How do you see the world?
I love that. And as you all said, it's in his book, which we're translating to English, and will be available to everybody to read. And I love that point. So let's move on to the next question. And this is the question at the heart of what's really bothering me. I'm trying to understand, these are very wise people, the wisest people in the generation, who have direct access to Noah and to understand his relationship with God and what happened. And yet they feel that by creating this tower and putting an idol on there with a sword, they can, so to speak, win a battle against God. I mean, it's so bizarre to me. I cannot get my mind around it. And yet, as we said, it was a real threat, because otherwise, why should God be bothered by it? He would just let them play, or whatever. It's not going to bother him. But no, he's very bothered. And it's almost as if he doesn't disperse them, they could succeed. And I just can't get my mind around that, if you could help us.
Yeah, first I can't succeed because it's no human can have the control of the world. We can see in the history, every civilization, every time comes some guy or some empire or some country that want to have the control of the humanity. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's happened during the last 1,000 years and even the last few years. We have an indication about for a pretending medical issue, we take the control of the entire world. So controlling is something that even if you pretend for good, we are not pretending as I want to destroy, I want to make good for everyone. Every empire pretend to make a better world, but to make a better world, I have to take control of it. Mm-hmm. So in fact, even the modern society, you can take it and say, in fact, what I want to do, I want to be like gods that have the control of the entire universe. We are spending billions to go and to see stars, like Rav Moshe Feinstein was saying in 1962 or 68, when they reached the moon. Before they try, and we are talking about the budget of the NASA can in 1 minute have medical issue to heal the entire world in 1 minute. Just the budget of that, yes? But we want to control now not just the earth, we want to control the space. So the pretension of a man to control is something that is inside him. The question is not if you have or if you don't have. The question is what do you want to do with that? And yes, you can say, Moshe Rabbeinu get the control of the knowledge of the wisdom of the world and he share it with love. This is the way to make God working inside our life. When you pretend to have a control, even in your daily life. You have an issue with the court, you have an issue with the policeman, you have an issue with the supermarket, with your car, with anything. At this moment, do you think that what happened is a God hand, or this is what you have to take control to fix it? So you do think in a small part that you have like the power of God to fix the things, yes? But it's not. It will never happen. So in fact, these pretensions have to be something that give us, again, a lot of grace and humility in the way we are acting. Because when you want to fight and to take the control of the situation that doesn't look the way you imagine it is, yes? You have this famous American woman that make a fantastic study about the Germany. And I say, I didn't want to make a war. I want to make a perfect human, perfect knowledge, perfect musician, perfect mechanics, perfect everything. So I want to become like a God. We can create something perfect. And we do have also this attitude. We don't want the situations that are not perfect in the way we think. So it's like we want to take the place of what God do and how he's managing the world. And you tell him, okay, you know what? I will do it better. So these have to give us two things. A lot of humility, that we are just, like the Ramchal said, I think you can compare a small insect with a grain of sand. For him is his entire world, like we are against the universe. So it's very lot of pretension to say I control everything that happened in my life, because the way I think, it's apparently the good way. But maybe if you take more wisdom, more knowledge, like Moshe Rabbeinu, you save people, you take out the slavery, you make them having wisdom about everything they're doing like that. So this is against what you said before. How we have the pretension to take the power of God. The politics have the pretension to take the control of the population. The bank have the pretension to take the control about your money. The government have the pretension to tell you if you can go out of your home or no. So we are not far.
Very good. So let's move on to the third question, because this also puzzled me, because the Torah says that the leaders, Nimrod and his followers, he said, let us make a name for ourselves lest we be dispersed. And I'm wondering, in what way does making a name for yourself stop you from being dispersed? What is the connection between having a name for yourself with the end goal of making sure that they don't get dispersed?
Everything has a positive and a negative side, and it's good, because electricity will not work with only a negative pole or positive pole, yes? Your heartbeat is all the time, the blood come in and out. So if you look at the universe, it's nothing that don't have these two poles to make things working. Nothing. Yes? Even an engine have explosion and off, on and off. Everything in this universe was made in this same model. So in fact, what I understand is exactly we call Am Israel. Why do we have to have a name that unifies us? Let's give the name for everyone. And what do we need? That Yaakov Avinu, after fighting, oh, now you are going to be Am Israel, and each tribe will have his name, identification. And in fact, what we use when we call Hashem in this name or this other name, the name, the letters of the name is direct identification about who you are. The Torah don't give you a number like we have in the ID. It gives you a real name. Yes. We are not a number. So I understand that, in fact, it is something in the positive side when it is unity that have power. This is a good lesson for us, because this teaches if we are acting in a positive way and we go with unity, we are very powerful. So when you say, I am different from my brother, from my sister, from my cousin, from my neighbor, so you want to really take in independence for each one, it's no unity. And we know definitely that between brothers, of course, but more than that, why do you want every time to separate each human from the other? Because they are all neshamot, and all neshamot come from one neshama. It was Adam Arishon. So more we have unity, more we have power. While the politics want to unify few countries together to be more powerful. So those guys understand clearly that unity is the key of the success. They didn't use it in a good way, but this is a good teaching for us.
And making a name for yourself is part of that unity. You have to be under one's name.
Of course.
I see. Okay, thank you. So we come to our third question, our first practical expression of the relevance to our lives today. And one of the things that I was fascinated by the Alshech is that he quotes 7 or 8 principles of the universe that really help us to explain history or even our current affairs situation. And one of them was that for every positive energy of spirituality and purity, there's an equal and opposite energy of negativity, and he learns that he learns that the bounty of Hashem was going to come from Jerusalem, and they were trying to create an alternative structure to bring that bounty in. So I can see where he's getting for that, but I wanted to ask you about the relevance of that to our lives today. I mean, because we see a lot of evil in the world. We see, abusive children. We see we had slavery just a few hundred years ago, and mad people doing very evil things in the world. When we see that and witness that, should we be thinking, wow, if there's so much evil, there must be the equivalent good? Or is it possible to have a world where you've neutralized the evil? And if you've done that, does that mean you don't have the positive spirituality that we're looking for as well?
It's a good question, and the answer is very simple, in fact. It's not really like I explained about electricity. Each pole has its own energy. When they are connected together, they give you light. Yes?
Yes.
So it's not right and left, black and white, like human can think. It's the melting, the mix of those both energies that make the world being. And this is very hard for human to understand, because for you it's or negative or positive. Why? Because the brain of human is limited. You are here now with me. You cannot be at the Alshech Shul at this moment. So you can't understand that two things can happen at the same moment, at the same place, at the same time. So the question of humanity from the beginning of the age to understand how two things can work together when what looked positive and what was negative is only because humans are limited to understand that. This is first point. The second point is, Rashi say, why Hashem wait 1,000 years to give the Torah? Why? You create the world, yes? You give exactly the guide at the same moment to give the book of life with the world, so it will be more easy. You know what you have to follow. It's a fantastic answer. You will pretend, and everyone pretends, that I want my free choice. Don't tell me what to do. It's like every child, every teenager, and every adult, step by step, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, all the time. I know what I have to do. More we get a little older, more we follow what the people before us was doing, and we say, it was working, let's continue. So Rashi gave a fantastic answer. The humanity will pretend, why did you give your indication how we can have a good life? We know by ourselves. So Rashi said, okay, Hashem, I give you 1,000 years, 2,000 years. Do it yourself. What do we call a disaster? But then we can't pretend that we didn't have the free choice to explore and to investigate what we can do. So if you take a child and you tell him, we have no choice to do what, just follow what I tell you. This is a type of education you can imagine. You will make a monster, or I don't know what it will be. We need a psychologist at 3 years old. Yes, it will living all the time. So Hashem wants to make us better, and He gives us the tools and the wisdom and the guidance of how humanity have to work, how things. And Noah is present in this parasha all the time. Why? Because this guy saved the world, not just his family and the animal. He saved the world to restart completely from new, just by acting with grace. No, this is good and this is bad. This is black and this is white. This is, I will say, the Roman civilizations that start with this notion. It is good and bad, evil and good, angel and bad. This really is like for a book for children. Because you know that you are not sometime, and I know that I'm not sometime an angel and sometime an evil, and I'm human. Inside me, it's many energy that I have to take my mind and to be enough calm to think about what I am doing. So my emotion will follow what I want in my life, yes? But Hashem give me the choice. If you want to investigate and you pretend that you have any other idea, it's like you buy a computer, you have the book how to use it, but you say, I don't want to follow the instruction. Right. So I will try to make a coffee with the computer. Please, welcome.
Very good. I was fascinated when I was reading it that the very thing that they were scared of happening to them, namely being dispersed with the world, in the world, is the very thing that happened to them. And I wanted to ask you, do you believe that what we fear, we attract into our lives?
Everything we create inside us, it's like a magnet. So when I meet people year after year or time after time, and they are all the time have bad story, you can, in very few minutes, see at these people that he's creating negative source about the way he's thinking about what life is. Then it is what he's feeling. So he's create like a magnet, an attraction about this. And this is the choice that Hashem gives us. How do you want to think? What do you think? It's what we start this Zoom meeting with the introduction of my book, that what do you think about the world? So when people tell you, oh, the police is not good, I don't say the police is good. I just tell you that if the list of your way of thinking about what your life is, what your city, what your home, what your family, what the universe is negative, what do you want? You create automatically an attraction for the negative events that can happen. So, like the Baal Shem Tov said, you are, when he say you are, it's like your life is the way you are thinking. And Rabbi Nachman of Breslev said all of that. And the way you are thinking is where you want to be. So, in fact, the free choice starts for the way we are thinking about what is in my life. And I make it many times. I give a pen and a paper to a person. I tell, okay, can you write what you like and what you love in your life and what you unlike and dislove in your life? And you see, it starts by complaining. If I have a new car, a new wife, a new children, a new situation, a new banker, a new government. So, in fact, this is the way you think inside you. Sometimes you are polite and you speak nice with people, but this is what, when you start to change that, this is how you make the world, and this is what Noah did. Because this is the way that he was thinking. I can do what I can do, yes? And people pretend that he was limited what he can do, but he did what he can with what he had. So, okay, I will make a small boat. How you are going to save the world with a boat? Believe me, it's completely incredible. He did it. Why? Because this was the way he was thinking, the way he was talking during 100 years with the people. Act with grace, with humility, with a smile, and take control about your source. You will take control about your life.
Beautiful. So I see we're almost at the 30-minute mark. So I just want to ask you, is there something that you can take out of this parasha that we've not discussed already, that you feel is a life-changing principle that we can apply to our lives today?
Definitely. First, I will say, you see crazy people that pretend to be a king, so you can also pretend to be a king. But maybe you have to act like a king, like Noah is. So I say this parasha give you the choice. You want to have the control like those people and to take the place of what God give you in your life? Or do you want to be a Noah, to save yourself, your family, your friends, and the entire world, in fact? This is how we can react and understand what this parasha gives us again. The two ways that human can drive the life. I want to take control, and I want to be a king that controls everything, and I want to be the controller in my life, in my family, in my friends, in my company. Or I want to be a Noah. I want to have a good life. I want a good life, so I want to save everything that is good. And I will take everything, even, Noah cannot bring 1,000 elephants and 5,000 birds, yes? But what he chose to save, this saved the entire world. It is exactly the message for everyone. When you do everything with grace and with a smile and with humility, and to say, what Hashem did is perfect. I just want to be a part of it. What I can do, I do it, and this is great. So your thinking will be, okay, I am great with what I did, and I saved the world. So make your little boat, and this little boat saved the entire world. So everyone can be a Noah or a Nimrod. You decide your choice.
Please God, we'll always decide to be the Noah. So I wanted just to wrap up by saying that really a big thank you.
Thank you.
Yoel, and thank you for trusting me in this. And Yoel does many, many great projects, but I just want to mention two that I'm so excited about. The first is that he's actually agreed to do a 6-minute podcast every week on his angle on what we can learn from the parasha. And if you're interested in tapping into that on a weekly basis, please contact me. I'd be delighted to give you the feed of that. And secondly, for the last 4 or 5 years, Yoel and his wife Miriam has been hosting. I think you worked it out about 10,000 people.
My wife, I'm just sitting and blah blah.
For Sudat Shishit, it's an open Sudat Shishit. So anybody that's coming to Tzfat, please do come for Sudat Shishit at Yoel's house. It's an experience that's really worth having, and you go back really enlightened and energized to face everything you need to face at home. So I'm sending you blessings for a successful week. And if you enjoyed this session, thank you. We have so many more viewers than last week. That's great. Small steps. So please share it with everybody. The more people we have connected with this, the more we can share the light of Torah in the world. My intention is to have a guest speaker with me every week, a different guest speaker, to show the variety and the colors of the Torah from Tzfat and from Israel. So sending you blessings, God bless you, and see you next week.